Hey everyone, Ed Reiskin, currently the Assistant Oakland City Administrator, will be appointed the new City Administrator when, as my source told me, the time is right, to replace the current interim Oakland City Administrator, Stephen Falk, at, quote, the appropriate time, as my source just told me. Falk, in turn, replaced the departed Sabrina Landreth, who in turn came in to really stabilize a position that had seen a number of heads, if you will, fill it at the behest of Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf, starting with former and legendary city manager Henry Gardner, who is now over the Oakland and Mid-County Coliseum Joint Powers Authority, then former Emeryville City Manager John Flores, and then Claudia Capio, who became Assistant City Administrator and point person regarding the Raiders Stadium, and Sabrina Landreth. In all, Mayor Schaaf has only named one African American to the position of Chief Administrative Officer, Markeisha Smith, who was brought in from Cincinnati, who is the another assistant city administrator in Oakland, was put in a position of making less money than Ed, even though, as a number of sources within the city told me, he was doing, quote, more work, unquote. There are a number of people, staff and elected officials, who are rooting for her to be the next Oakland Chief Administrative Officer. But having said all of that, let's talk about Ed. Ed, first of all, is a good man, and I say that personally. This is not to disparage Ed, but only to explain the situation that he found himself in when Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf brought him over to be on the Chief Administrative Office staff. Ed was the 8-year Director of Transportation for the San Francisco Municipal Transportation Authority, which runs MUNI. However, after a set of, in a couple of cases, unfortunate occurrences, and overall a set of decisions that, in other examples, were essentially poor, because in the case of the tunnel, the Twin Peaks tunnel, the cutting of the power there was not something that the mayor's office in San Francisco was made aware of. All of that eventually cost Ed his job when San Francisco Mayor London Breed announced that she was going to make a change at the top at the San Francisco Municipal Transportation Authority. Ed was deputy mayor of Washington, D.C. He comes with a degree from the Harvard Kennedy School of Government and has developed an expertise, in particular, as a transportation geek, if you will, and administrative junkie, city administrative junkie when it comes to transportation issues. One regional project that Ed has become attached to is the talk that will lead eventually to a second BART connector tunnel, bridging, if you will, the East Bay and the West Bay, much as the current BART tunnel does. There are a number of people, most notably Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf, who was at a conference with Ed. In fact, I have a photograph of the two of them at that conference over at Oakland News Now in 2015, where they were both talking about that. So ostensibly, I believe in the mayor's view, this rights a very nasty salary wrong, where Ed was making more the Markeisha Smith by the tune of roughly $50,000 to $100,000. And at least from her perspective, this is a hypothesis, this would seem to be a kind of an alignment. For Ed, it's another chance, a second chance, to get transportation problems right. And he doesn't come from another place in the country, let alone the world. He has great familiarity, with Oakland. He has a lot of history here, and he is a competent and consummate professional. So Ed will be your next Chief Administrative Officer of Oakland. And Ed, congratulations. Godspeed.